Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be fixing an issue that I have with my shop, and that is because of the small space that I have, I don't really have much room to cut down full sheets of plywood. And that I'm constantly doing, so I need to figure out a way to do that a whole lot easier than trying to move everything else away from the center of the room, wheeling out the table saw, and just trying to balance that on top of the table saw. But I've thought of, you could build an outfeed table. Ideally, I would love to do that, but I don't have the room for that either. So what I'm going to do is build a track that I can easily cut consistent lines and keep them square and break down a piece of plywood before taking it over to the table saw, or even cut the finished sheets on this as well. So my wife was nice enough to let me buy a new saw. This was on sale at Lowe's, and I've got this that I'm going to build the track to go right beside the saw, and you can easily just push the saw down, unclamp the track, move it over to whatever spot you want, clamp it back down, and make another cut. So stick around and I'll show you guys how I do that. So here's the circular saw that I purchased. This isn't the top of the line or even the cheapest that you can get. I tried to get something in the middle, and this was the best deal that I could find. And if you look on the inside of the saw where the blade attaches and behind that where the motor is, a lot of the other saws had a lot of plastic pieces internally, and this one had all metal. So I thought this would hold up a lot better than the others, and I like the looks of metal parts instead of plastic, so I went with this one instead. So if you look on the back side of this motor, I realized that this won't be able to butt up against a fence on this side because the motor is too close to the ground. And obviously this can change a little bit depending on your depth, but you could always use it on the other side, the blade side of the saw instead. So for the track today, I'm going to be cutting this 3/4 inch plywood, and I'll cut it at about 5 feet long. This will give me extra space on either end to make sure I can reach that full 4-foot wide sheet. Now I realize I won't only be using this for 4-foot wide sheets. Sometimes I might be using it for a 3-foot or even a 2-foot wide section, and I want to break it down. So I'm going to make one of these ends adjustable, and to do that, I'm going to cut a track down into this wood and then build a sled to slide up and down on this piece of wood and then be able to clamp down at whatever length I want. It's right about now that I started making a big mistake that makes this unusable as is, so I'm going to have to modify the design later on in this video, so stick around and see what that is and how I fix it. Now I'm going to put in a nail in the same spot on each side, and this will basically act as a hinge, allowing the wood on top to hinge up and down so I can tighten it down and fasten it in place. Now it's time to build the other end, and this side will be fixed in place, and I'll actually have a clamping mechanism that I can tighten down by hand onto the piece of plywood and clamp it into place. So here's the lever that I will use as the clamp, and you can see at the bottom there's a circle, and the hole that I'll drill for the center mark is off-centered, so when you turn the lever it will actually expand on one end and get tighter. So now that the lever is working great and the piece of wood slides out like it should, and this will clamp it in place, I need to make a mechanism that will hold that piece of wood from falling out. So I'm going to cut a little notch for a pin to stick into. This will allow it to move in and out like it needs, but won't let it fall all the way out. Now the measurements that this can fit, I wanted to make it a little bit bigger than 4 feet to have a little bit of wiggle room. So this actually can go up to 51.5 inches. And then the minimum length is really flexible, because if I wanted to go lower, I can just cut that track that I did before farther down on this board. If you haven't noticed what my mistake was yet, soon I will notice, and that is I didn't leave a straight edge on this guide. When I was planning it, I had it all set up, but then completely forgot about it when I started working. Now to fix this, I need to modify the track, extend it out so that it'll be flush with the side that has a clamp on it. And then the side that has the adjustable sled, I need to cut off one end so that it does not get in the way of the track itself. That way it can be flush with it instead of overlapping. I'm going to drill a hole through the bolt that allows me to tighten down the sled in place, and this will give me a spot that I can then hammer a pin into there, and this will hold the bolt from spinning around. Now after a quick detour, I'm back on track and this project is almost finished. It's ready for a test run, and then I'll see how it works. Now, I can already tell this works great, and I'm going to use this a ton, and it really will just make my life a whole lot easier whenever I bring in new sheets of plywood into my shop and I need to break them down for a project.
Alright, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you want a notification when I upload a video, click on that bell icon, and don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.